Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. Now in today's part of the video, we're going to look at 3G1 Mathematics, Chapter 4, Changing the Subject of a Simple Formula. Now, before we begin, let us understand that, for example, we have some examples of formulas given to us, okay, that we know of. For example, area of a triangle is equals to half times base times height. Okay, so a formula will have a left-hand side and a right-hand side, and it's made up of certain variables or certain unknowns that you need to use. Okay, another version of formula, for example, the area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, or there are many other types of formulas that we know of. So now, for example, if we are given a formula and they ask us to find the values of a certain number, okay, given certain numbers. For example, in example 1, y equals to 3x plus 10. They want us to find the value of y when x equals to negative 5. So inside this formula is given that y is equals to 3 times x plus 10. Now the value of the x value, this x over here, the value, this one's supposed to be capital X, is now negative 5. So I'm going to substitute this number x equals to negative 5 into the formula and then calculate out the answer. So 3 times negative 5 plus 10, and that will give me the number negative 5 as the answer. Okay, let's try a few more different types of formula. For example, the area of a circle is given as a equals to pi r squared. So area is equals to pi r squared. Find the area of a circle when the radius is equals to 3. I'm going to change my letter r into bracket square, and my letter r is now the number, the value 3. So then I'll key my calculator, pi bracket 3 close bracket square. Okay, and I got my answer as 28.27456. Then if your answer is not exact, round it off to 3 significant figure, 28.3. Okay, so there are many other versions of a formula that we can know of, so you can try to complete these two examples on your own, these two questions. Okay, next one, example number 5. This is more of a little bit of a problem sum, okay, that you need to understand what are the variables and what do they represent. So inside here, the height, h, so h is actually talking about a height, so this is the height, okay, of a stone that is thrown above the ground vertically upwards, okay, t seconds later. So t is actually this timing, right? This is your t seconds later, the time. Find the height of stone after 5 seconds. So they want you to find the height. Height equals to what value after 5 seconds? What's the number 5 for? 5 seconds means it's actually t. T is equals to the number 5. So I'll use my equation over here. So this is my equation given to me. I will have h equals to 10 times t minus t squared. So I'll replace all t with empty brackets, and now I'm going to sub in the value for t to be the number 5. Then I'll have 10 times 5 minus 5 close to bracket square, and that gives me the number 25. And they want the height, right? So it comes with a unit, probably meters or whichever. Okay, so this is one part of our example. Now next we're going to learn how to make something a subject from a whole equation itself, whole part of a formula. Before we begin to learn about changing subject, let's recall some reverse operations. So if I have addition, the opposite will be to subtract. Okay, subtraction. If I have subtraction, then the opposite, the reverse operation will be to add. If I multiply, the reverse operation will be you divide. If I had divide, the reverse operation will be multiply. Okay, for numbers that are squares, for example, a equals to r squared over here. So the reverse operation will be to take square root. Okay, so when you take square root, must remember, in order to get r itself, you take square root, there will be square root r a plus or minus. Okay, square root can have two possible answers, right? The reverse of square root is to square. So in this case, for example, I want to find h. I want to get rid of the square root over here. I'm going to square the opposite side, reverse it. So g squared, and remove the square root symbol from this side. Okay, so square this portion. Then if I were to have cube, then the one will be, if I have square, the reverse operation is square root. If it's cube, the reverse operation will be cube root. Right? But cube root doesn't have plus or minus, so in this case it's just r equals to cube root with a root with a number 3 at the top, okay, v. Right? Some may ask, why is it that square root we have two possible answers? So you notice that if I have the number, for example, saying a is equals, r squared is equals to, let's say, the number 4. So r will be equals to plus or minus square root 4, which gives me positive or negative 2. Why is that so? Because if I will have 2 whole thing square, it gives me the number 4. If I have negative 2 whole thing square, negative times negative still gives me negative number. This one will be also positive 4. So it will happen that these two will give you the same answer, value 4. So therefore, there are two possible answers over here. Now that we know the basics for all the different reverse operations already, we are ready to do changing the subject of a simple formula. Okay, in example 1, make t the subject of the formula. X equals to 5t plus 10. So for me, I'll take it as x equals to 5t plus 10. I want to make t my subject, okay, the subject of the formula. So I'm going to take t to be my bad guy, the criminal. Then I want to try to catch the criminal, right? And this over here is 5t. So it comes together as a package. So the letter t has actually 5 bodyguards with it. So I can't deal with it. What do? I deal with the outermost enemy first. So I try to get rid of plus 10. So this is adding 10. I'll do the reverse operation to get rid of 10. Adding 10. So I shall do subtract 10 on both sides. So it will be x minus 10 equals to 5t. So remember, it's not bringing over and changing sign. I'm just doing a reverse operation. I'm subtracting to get rid of 10. Okay, so now once I have this, 5t is on its own now, and this has 5 bodyguard. The relationship between 5 and t is multiplication. So I'll do the reverse operation. I shall divide and conquer, right? So I shall divide away 5 on both sides. So the moment we do this, you'll notice that the 5 and the 5 will disappear and cancel away. So we'll be left with just t as the subject. Remember to write t in front. So the criminal, when they arrest the criminal goes in front, then the policeman walks behind it, right, to escort the criminal. So t goes in front, and then the remaining portions of your answers, the variable, will all appear at the back. So this one will be x minus 10 over 5. Have you gotten the concept? Let's do one more question. Similarly, of this time, make y the subject of my formula. So I want to have y, and I catch y, the criminal, but y is together with 2y, so it has 2 bodyguards over here. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to get rid of the outermost enemy, negative 5. This is subtract 5. So what we're going to do, undo and reverse the operation. So we're going to reverse the operation and get rid of it. So this one will become x plus 5. So undo minus, so undo subtraction, we'll bring it over, become add, okay, equals to 2y. So now 2y is on its own. Okay, y is on its own with 2 bodyguards. So this relationship here is multiplication. We do the reverse operation. We do division. So divide by 2, divide and conquer, divide by 2. Now we rewrite the expression to make y the subject. We keep y at the front. Okay, this one here cancel away, no more y already, right? And we put the remaining, okay, at the back. So this is x plus 5 over 2. Have you gotten the concept? Now this is for the basics for multiplication terms that has multiplication of a term multiplied to the t, something multiplied to t, and an external term at the back. Okay, so what should we do about other types of equation? Okay, for example, things that looks like that. Okay, this is also something similar. What do we want to make x the subject? We want to make x the subject in this case. So x is now actually stuck with a fraction x over 5. So instead of dealing with this first, I'm going to do the outermost enemy, right? This is subtract 4. So what we're going to do, we're going to undo subtraction and bring it over to the other side and undo the subtraction, then it become addition. So we as plus 4 equals to x over 5. Okay, now I want to get x as my subject. This relationship over here is divided by 5. This relationship is divided by 5. I do not want a denominator divided by 5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the whole expression over here on both sides. I'm going to multiply by 5, multiply by 5 outside. So you notice I wrote a bracket. It actually means multiplication. 5 bracket x plus 4, that means multiplication. So with that, this 5 and the 5 cancel away. We rewrite, we try to make x at front and equals to, we'll bring over the remaining, this portion, to this side. So this one will be 5 bracket s plus 4. Have you gotten the concept? Let's try one more question. Okay, so in this question, make P the subject of the formula. Oops, my formula something is missing. Maybe I'll just put a letter Q equals to P over 3 plus 2. Any letter will do. Okay, so just start off something with that. So if I want a formula, I must definitely have a left hand side and a right hand side. Yeah. Okay, now I want to make P the subject. P is with P over 3, so I cannot do anything to it. It's together with this bodyguard. So I try to get rid of the outermost enemy. This is add 2, so we should try to get rid of it by doing the reverse operation. That will be subtract 2. So this will be Q subtract 2, and I'm left with P over 3. Okay, then this one over here, P is related to this number 3 through a division, right? So we're going to undo and reverse the process by multiplication. So first I'm going to put brackets for this whole term. So because I'm going to multiply the number to the whole part of this term, Q minus 2, right? So I'm going to put multiply by 3, multiply by 3. And you notice that the 3 and 3 cancel away. I'll put my P in front, P at the front equals to, then I'll copy the whole of this portion at the back. Okay, have you gotten the concept? Okay, if you are able to do so, let's move on to the next type, okay, of simple formula. Okay, other variations of formulas. Okay, for example, given that A equals to 4 pi r squared, make r the subject. Why do we need to learn this kind of formula? It's quite common because sometimes, like, for example, we are given the area of a circle or area of something, and I want to find the unknown, the radius, but that radius is actually with r squared. So how do I deal with this kind of working? So if I were to start off with A equals to 4 pi r squared, I'm not going to apply. Okay, remember when we have r squared, and get rid of square, I need to do square root, right? But I can't apply square root to this effect immediately because r squared is not alone. So what we need to do, the first aim is to get r squared term alone. Okay, so we want to get the r squared term. So what do we have? What are the company, the bodyguard for r squared? For r squared itself, here there is a 4 pi over here. The relationship between them is multiplication. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the reverse operation. We're going to divide away 4 pi, divide away 4 pi. In that case, 4 pi and 4 pi cancel. You're left with r squared. And this is a over 4 pi. Okay. And now, next step, recall a little bit how to get rid of the square. R square is finally on its own. So we're going to get rid of the square. We're going to employ the square root method. We're going to put the criminal inside the jail. So take square root a over 4 pi. But there will be two answers with plus and minus, right? So we put the criminal inside the jail. Remember to lock it up, plus or minus, right? So in this case, remember to write r in front. So we rewrite r in front and put the whole of this at the back of the formula. Okay, so therefore this will be your answer, right? So next, let's look at the next type of formula. Okay, example number 4, make x my subject. Now you notice that in this equation, there's not a lot of numbers, but there's a lot of letters and algebra, right? Still can be done the same way. I have 3y minus 2x equals to z. Okay, and what do I want? I want to have x, right? But x is with a bodyguard. This is negative 2x on a whole. The sign, okay, this sign over here, negative, actually belongs to a number 2. Okay, do not put it together, associate with 3y. The 3y itself, this actually, the sign for the 3y is positive number. It's an addition sign for itself. Okay, so for the x is actually negative 2x. So I'm going to keep this over here. I have an outermost enemy 3y. So what I need to do, I need to get rid of positive 3y. Okay, so I undo the addition. Okay, and I'll do a subtraction so that I get negative 2x equals to z minus 3y. Okay. From now on, there's two different parts of a method. Firstly, we notice that this is negative 2x over here, and I only want the x term. So one way you can do is you're going to divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2 on both sides, and you'll be left with x equals to z minus 3y. Copy the whole thing down over negative 2. First version of the answer. Or some of you who are slightly better in terms of manipulating for algebra, what you can do is we can try to make x positive by changing sign. So I'm going to multiply by negative 1, multiply by negative 1, multiply by negative 1. So I shall change sign, change sign, change sign. And that will give me 2x is equals to minus z plus 3y. After that, then I'll divide by 2, divide by 2. Okay, the two answers look slightly a little bit different because one we changed sign. Okay, the other one we did not change the sign, but we divided by negative 2 instead. Both answers are correct, so you can do whichever versions that makes you feel comfortable. Okay, now we move on to the next type of the question. I think this will be the last type of the question already. Our last question for the end of our video over here. What we notice, we have make Q the subject. Where are the appearances of Q? Q appeared here. there's a 3q, and there's a negative 1 unit of q over here. So this criminal is actually quite clever to cover up his tracks, right? He spread his location all over, distracted, but actually that's not the real location, right? So we're gonna try to catch q, and we group all the q, force it all over to at one location only. So from here, 3q minus p equals to r minus q. I'm going to try to put all the q only in one location. In this case, since I want to make q my subject, I should keep q on my left-hand side. Okay, and I try to remove, get rid of this negative q here and bring it over, group it over to this side. So the objective now that we want is we're going to keep this 3q stays here. And this negative q, subtract q, we'll try to shift it over to this side. Okay, so what we can do, this is minus q, right? We reverse the operation. We'll do a plus q, plus q. Okay, so if that's the case, we will get 3q plus q, and we'll end up with 4q. Okay, we add q, right? So the 3q and the q add together, 3q plus q, 4q. Negative p stays here. This one is your r. Remember, we want to make q my subject. Okay, now that this is 4q on its own, from two locations become one location already, centralized already. So what we're going to do, we'll get rid of the next outermost enemy. This is minus p. So I'll try to remove it by doing a plus p. So I'm left with 4q equals to r plus p. Then finally, q is on its own, and there are 4 units of them, 4 person, 4 bodyguard. We shall divide and conquer, divide by 4, divide by 4. And we are left with q in front. 4 and the 4 cancel away. So then r plus p over 4. Answer. Have you gotten the concept? Okay, with that, we come to the end of this part of the video. I'll see you more for the next session. Bye-bye.